kind of been expected. I think there was a lot of rumors, a lot of people buying the rumor, definitely selling the news after some of that price pullback today. But just to give people kind of like high level, the video, if you haven't seen it from the keynote in Cannes, is
Starts in 15 minutes, by the way.
yeah, it's like Vlad driving through the French Riviera in this like really really nice vintage sports car, and then he gets out looking like the fucking Monopoly man or some shit. And then, he looks like the guy from like Knives Out. Have you seen that?
Yeah. It was
Like he's
fucking
about to fucking solve a murder mystery or some shit.
I think there's probably a lot of crypto CEOs out there shitting their pants watching this one, thinking, okay, the big boys have entered the room here. Like, this was James Bond-esque.
Yeah, even like the backing tracks were kind of Bond villain esque. And yeah, the vast majority of crypto CEOs are definitely not going to be able to give a presentation like this. They can't even look people in the eye or speak to a female, so it's definitely not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, I suppose TLDR of it is, let's just go into some of the show notes. So Robinhood is now fully rolled out across the EU and EEA, expanding from just 6 countries to 31. Accessible via the new branded Robinhood app, formerly Robinhood Crypto. Robinhood's long-term vision is a global financial platform. Perpetual futures now available in the EU. I think they're trying to look at getting that into the US as well. So launching the mobile-first perps experience. I've seen it was up to like 3x leverage on like a couple of the assets available there. So might not be too appetizing for a lot of the complete degenerates who listen to this. What I did like as well, if you do watch the video, they had even just stuff like down to really, really, really good UX. So how you setting your take profit and stop on your stop loss. It was just like a really interactive way of actually doing it, and it just made a lot of sense. And they mentioned that when they were looking at other perps platforms, there was some of them that are widely used that took up to around 20 clicks to actually open a position, and they've got this like drastically down. So obviously lent heavily into the UX. It looked really, really good. Not really too appealing with a 3x leverage for a lot of people, but it's a place to start, I suppose. The next point, and we're going to go through all of these individually, but like just give a high level. Tokenized US stocks and ETFs now available for EU customers. So they made a good example using Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, and then a lot of indices and stuff like that. Zero commission, no hidden fees, low FX conversion. So when you deposit your euros, and then it would have to be converted into USD. So I think they're actually taking the 10 bips as the fee rate there. Fully powered by Arbitrum under the hood, and then they're going to expand to Robinhood Chain, which is built using Arbitrum Orbit. They're currently available to trade 24/5, so weekdays. With once they fully get this like phase 2, again, we're going to go into all this in a sec. They are looking for 24/7 trading of these stock tokens. So it's going to be like one of the first markets on the planet there where you are fully able to get access, long or short, to exposure of traditional assets, which is pretty fucking cool. They did do this board, which I have drawn a small little willy on there that I don't think a lot of people have realised. I'd love for them to reshare that without knowing. So this was pretty good. And it's in these 3 phases. Phase 2 is when they get it to 24/7 trading, and then phase 3 is when it's fully on chain. Robinhood Chain, building its own L1. I don't think that's correct. That's pulled from the transcript. Sorry, it's going to be a L2 using Arbitrum Orbit. Self-custody of all stock tokens, which is great. You can kind of get it off the Robinhood app and into self-custody. Long-term global decentralized access to tokenized assets. Now, this is something that I've seen that's coming up an awful lot. So private company tokens. So pre-IPO tokens, they made the example and basically airdropped a lot of SpaceX and OpenAI stock to people who've downloaded the app over the next, I think it's week or two. So yeah, getting exposure to markets where you typically wouldn't have that deal flow unless you were kind of moving in considerable size, or you had access to secondary markets, which I think was really, really cool. They do have a couple of other updates as well, but I think that's enough for a jumping off point. So, yeah, yeah, where do you want to start? Do you want to start on any initial thoughts, and then we'll pick some of the bones out of the
Yeah,
products?
sure. I think initially, I think the first thing to do is order an additional monitor so you can start monitoring the stock prices as well in your sophisticated setup. But I think this really is like that all-in-one investment application now that they've rolled out here. And I think it is going to eat the lunch of quite a few of the real crypto-focused ones you've got out there. You're like, so crypto.com really spring to mind, who do gouge massively on fees. And they have a decent offering, but when you have the big boys entering like this, I think they're going to be able to pretty much take them off the board, to be honest with you. So what we're going to get out of this, obviously, as a crypto industry, they're going to tokenize literally all other financial assets and bring them on chain is pretty much what the presentation was getting at. So
Yeah.
I think that's very bullish for crypto broadly, because you're going to get this lovely crossover then of people who want to utilize the Robinhood app, and they're going to see all the crypto offerings there additionally. And I think from either way you see it, if you're a crypto native person, this is likely to make you want to maybe have that easy access into diversifying with stocks. Like for me personally, I would actually do that now through this kind of application, because it's not something we're as a culture pretty much into in like UK specifically. We're not risk takers in terms of buying stocks and shares. People are pretty boring with
Super
that
risk
kind of stuff,
averse.
but massively risk averse. But I think this kind of application, bringing it to the people, will actually be a good way for people to start to save for the future. Because I think over the last few years, people have made it very, it's been clear to people that to get ahead, you have to take risks. Even people we've onboarded this cycle, you probably can attest the same. They've been like, oh, wow, there's a way to save money, but it actually goes up and I can buy the things I want. So I think having stocks available to people in these regions, I think is very good for them economically as well. So it's good to see that they're actually bringing this to the people. So major unlock, I would say more broadly. But the presentation, I'd say, just like they came over as supremely competent, goes through the kind of mint and burn function of the stocks and how they move through brokerage. So I think this is a level up versus some of the competitors you're going to see over the next few days and hear about.
Yeah, super. Like the keynote is, despite some of their like acting, what I'll try and call it, being fucking dog shit, but
Banter.
it's so difficult to like do that thing, particularly when the whole world's watching and it's live. So like, fair fucking play for doing it. But yeah, it's that step change, isn't it? It's like, right, the big guys are here to play now. So if you're not doing a better product, marketing it better, and you haven't got better distribution and lower fees, you're gonna get spanked. You really are. So I put out a tweet earlier saying, I think this, despite it being, you know, like a traditional company coming in later in the day and kind of just building upon the tech and trying to eat a lot of people's lunch. I think there's pros and cons to that. And I think what it will do, particularly with the exposure to basically any asset on the planet, whether that be equities, commodities, pre-IPO stuff, I think that now gives should send shudders down people's spine who think they can just raise a load of money and launch a product and launch a token associated to it. Because there is no way on earth, you can already see in the markets there's Bitcoin, hype, maybe Sol, which is kind of flat as a fart at the minute, and Farcoin. Other than that, you're going to have to be so dialed in to be making a return. And it's because there's zero appetite for shit token distribution, which results in having to hold stuff through horrendous volatility. And even when you're plowing people full of fundamental bull cases, tokens aren't moving. So what if that's already the case and there's better opportunities? I'd have loved to have like sat on some gold or the S&P or like invested in maybe not OpenAI stock right now because I think there's a lot to come out from that story. But when capital is not being appreciated with good opportunities, it will go and seek them. So having like I refer to it as like all weather opportunities now. So it doesn't really matter what's going on. There will be a product to go and allocate towards. So what I think the second and third and fourth order effects of that are teams that are just having a go, raising like ungodly amounts of money and having a token associated to it. I think that is just going to wipe them off the face of the earth. Because if you get to the crux of it, yes, people want to operate on crypto rails. I don't think people really care what they invest in as long as it goes up. So that's like where I think it's going to go.